VOWR800.
Hello and welcome to Going Strong, the show that celebrates all things Newfoundland and Labrador and our unique culture, one of the most vibrant in the world, where every week I'll be chatting with one of the people who keeps the culture going strong. Musicians, singers, actors, artists, comedians, or someone like today's guest, who manages to bring all those things together on a stage infused with the passion and spirit of this place we call home. The co-founder and CEO of the cultural enterprise known as Spirit of Newfoundland Productions, Kathie Hicks. Welcome.
Oh, how great to be here. What an intro. How nice. Yes.
Well, so good to get caught up. And, of course, Spirit of Newfoundland in its 27th season now of musical dinner theater. Talk about going strong, you know. I want to hear, too, what shows you're staging this year a little bit later. But first, I'd like to zip back to the summer of 1997. When we were celebrating Newfoundland's 500th birthday, and you and singer Peter Halley had a little idea.
Yeah, we did. And that's the thing about our company is that we only intended, Peter and I, for that summer to do a project. And I remember you were working on television then, and you did our opening night and everything. But it was just so successful. We were shocked more than anybody, and but it was fantastic. So we said to each other, we said, my gosh, we can't let this die now. So let's write another one. So Peter got at it, and he's written, I don't know exactly how many originals, but perhaps more than 80, but 75 to 80. And then, we've done other shows and we've done remounts. And anyway, so we've been steady going ever since 27 years later. Yeah.
And at what point in that first summer did you realize, hey, we've tapped into something special here that's really resonating with people? Maybe we should keep it going. At what point? Was it pretty quickly?
It was a point, actually. And I tell you, it was a point because we were both out of our element then. Peter was a school teacher. I was working at the CBC. We were so busy putting this together and people were coming. It was when Premier Brian Tobin was outside and we forgot about coat check. We had people waiting outside, and there's an old technique used really to get some marketing attention. Oh, there's a big line up there. Must be something great. We didn't think about them because we weren't quite ready to have them come in. Luckily, that summer it hardly rained because we would have thought about them out in the rain. But it was when it was Brian Tobin was in the lineup. So that made a bit of buzz around out on the sidewalk. And because literally we knew the sidewalk well because I have a good friend, so he tells people that he met me when I landed on the bonnet of his car. He was driving down the road. We were trying to pull people in the first 2 weeks, right? We couldn't get him to come in because we knew we had something great. But we had to literally pull them in within the first 2 weeks, and then it blew. So Brian Tobin outside in the rain, right?
It was good enough for the premier.
Good enough for the premier. Right. It must be some good show if he's down there in that crowd. Yeah.
And, you brought together a great group of singers. And for many, a nice dinner and a bit of good music would have been enough. But you made audiences laugh as well. Yes. Was the comedy always just as important as the music?
It had to be. First of all, Peter being the creative director, he's a great storyteller. And he's, a laugh and a half. Get him going on a party now. And so he understood it. And he understood that formula. And I haven't seen anyone yet understand it as much. Even when I said to him, across the country, when you look at people who are doing these kinds of things, there's a certain formula for the shows, and it takes you on a ride. And he knows it. And he's just really good, and he collaborated on many, and he's found some good partners in writing. But so the comedy is always important. However, it's a great question, Debbie, because the comedy is in the character and the voices they use and the costumes they wear or whatever. But when it comes to the song, Peter made sure that they were serious about the song. So there were never accents going into the song and all that. And the elements of the SATB, the soprano, alto, tenor, and the bass, that he made sure that all the harmonies worked. He had the best musicians, and we just hired the best people for that. So, please understand me when I say this. Like, you look at Come From Away. I went to the open night of Come From Away because Peter himself got cast in Come From Away. And, Shelley did. And I looked, and on that stage and in the pit, there were 13 people who had come through Spirit's doors. And I went, that's the kind of caliber that gets created on our stages. And it's extraordinary. You know, you have the comedy, the music, the voices, the everything, combine it with the spirit of Newfoundland, the spirit of our people, the character of our people. And you got something great, right? And that's what happened,
Well, what a legacy. And I mean, a living legacy and an ongoing legacy. And I mean, so you had a clear vision right from the get-go to get the best of the comedy, the best of the humor, the best of the music. Yeah. Yes. And of course, it worked, it resonated. And I think what you tried to capture on stage with the performance throughout the evening, you also captured really well in the song that's sung at the end of every performance that you and Peter wrote in the early days. And of course, it's called the Spirit of Newfoundland Song.
People can't wait for us to sing it. We sing it at the end of every show. That was decided before we even started this. That and the Ode to Newfoundland is the very final song, which we love. But yeah, it's the Spirit of Newfoundland Song, and people really look forward to it. Yeah.
And I'd like to hear a little bit more about the song and how it came about and the beautiful imagery. But first, I think that we and our listeners should hear the song itself. So let's have a listen to the Spirit of Newfoundland Song.
We'd like to thank you all for your help tonight, for your laughter, smiles, and friendship, for making everything all right. So we leave you now with your memories, all the history we have shared. We hope you will recall. It doesn't matter where you come from, it doesn't matter where you've been. It's our spirit and our culture that keeps us all within one big family together that is powered from above. We are rich no matter what we owe. We have each other's love. We have our rocky shores and mighty seas, the rolling fog and salt sea breeze. We are a people proud and strong from Newfoundland. We have our rocky shores and mighty seas, the rolling fog and salt sea breeze. We are a people proud and strong from
Spirit of Newfoundland Song. Well, my guest today is Kathie Hicks, the CEO of Spirit of Newfoundland Productions, who co-wrote that song with the company's creative director, Peter Halley. And Kathie, it's such a lovely song that paints such vivid pictures of this place, but stirs the hearts so much of all who hear and sing it. Which came first, your shows or the song?
The songs actually, Peter was intent on that. You know, he said, we're going to have a song that ends each show. So the decision was to write one. And we labored over the lyrics of it, you know, to make it like he came up with the tune and just it had to be about us as a family. Like, doesn't matter where you come from. It doesn't matter where you've been. It's our spirit and our culture that keeps us all within. And when we go one big family together, because people like, you know, especially our visitors, they go, are you guys from some club or something? And even like last night, right up to last night, I had guests here from Vancouver and they were so moved by it. Because they do feel part of the family now. They've experienced it. They ate some of the food. They laughed at the jokes. They understood some of the history. And that's the kind of ride we want to take them on every night. And then it gets encapsulated in that song at the end. And everyone feels, oh my God, my heart, you know. And it's beautiful. And the harmonies matter and all of it matters. But what matters is that all of us are together in this. And it took all of us to make this magical night and to make the magic happen.
And, you know, you've sung that song. You've watched audiences sing it for 27 years. Does it still affect you as deeply as it did the first time you sung it?
Totally resonates all the time. It's amazing. That and the ode. I get filled up with the ode every time. So it's a perfect capture of, you know, who we are, what we're trying to do. And we do with our shows. Like we make a point that if you don't leave us satiated, really. Satiated is the word I use because you've ate, you've drank, you laughed, you chatted. You know, you got our personality. Because we at Spirit of Newfoundland, most people don't know this, but pre-show every single night. And we do 120 shows a year. So we are not tired of doing this either. And we've had it 27 years. We gather all the staff and we talk about our philosophy. And it's a triple philosophy. And I make it really simple, but there's 3 things. And we revisit them every night. Number 1 is give the guests what they want. They don't want too much, right? Number 2 is that we are a yes culture. It is no is never an answer, not to your colleague, not to anyone. It's just, you know, people don't just, we're family, you know, it's just like you just make them feel good because I don't like rules and I don't like no's. I don't like no cultures. And the third thing is being a Newfoundlander, but we get people to explain what is that? What does that mean to you to be a Newfoundlander, you know, in our culture and, you know, it probably means you're talented. It means you have free license to get in someone's mutual space. But it's that warmth and kindness and friendliness that people come to expect. We make sure that they know that they are the host of this party. And when those doors open, they are your guests and you make them feel like they're just part of it. Yeah, you give them our Newfoundland spirit, right? So, yeah.
Well, I mean, it's right in the song. I mean, I love the couple of lines. It's our spirit and our culture that keeps us all within one big family together. Powered from above, we are rich no matter what we owe. We have each other's love. And I want to talk a little bit more about our culture. I mean, I covered it as a journalist for many years, and I was always struck by its depth, its richness, the legacy through the generations, and how utterly unique it is. Of course, as somebody who's tapped into that culture and brought it to Newfoundlanders and tourists alike, is that how you feel about it?
And that's what's important about this. And that's why, you know, I'm so glad you're doing this show and you called it Going Strong because there are a bunch of people going strong. Our culture is so unique and beautiful and warm and big, and it needs to be captured and it needs to be supported because our world is changing so quickly. You know, when we started 27 years ago, there were probably 3 dance schools on the go, 3 or 4 maybe. You know, there was, you know, a couple of theater companies. George Street was happening. But look at what's happened in those 27 years. The huge concerts everywhere, plays, shows, Arts and Culture Center is full. Even at that time, Deborah, they were doing, and you probably remember this, there was 1 community production every 2 years at the Arts and Culture Center. I mean, you can't get a date there now hardly because there's such proliferation of it. And the young people are digging it. They like the songs. When you get Irish Descendants on the stage, when you get Navigators on the stage, I mean, they know the music, they know the lyrics. And we're all still kind of working together, you know, which is kind of cool. And I think that, you know, it's not going to die as long as this crowd is around. You know, I'm part of that crowd.
Well, exactly. And it is going strong because those who were part of the explosion, the Renaissance in the 80s of all forms of our art and culture are passing it on and infusing, you know, the newer generations with their excitement.
Yes.
I am curious, though, you talked about the guests and a lot of them are from outside of the province. Have you learned anything that you didn't know about our culture through the eyes of people who are not from here?
Yeah, I've learned how special we are. I mean, and, you know, you don't want to say that, you know, I'm humble when I say that. I just think that everyone is so special because, I mean, it's hard to describe, but this a woman who was there last night, she said to me, she said, it makes you really appreciate the culture. I said, explain that to me. What does that mean to you? She said, well, she said it was a step up from everything else we've seen already. I said, okay, what does that mean? Was the food better? She said, no, it was the whole thing. She says, like the whole package. You are satiated. And how we accomplish that and how we give that a platform even more, because once we learned that and we understood that we had something special going on, we made sure that that continued. And one way to do that was understanding that we were not working with a fourth wall. So in theater, you know, at stages, you go to arts and culture anywhere, you know, the performers on the stage, they don't look at the audience. They're not meant to. There's a fourth wall. It's called a fourth wall that separates the stage from the audience. We don't have that separation. And in fact, we do the opposite. We'll go and sit on your lap. We'll
put people up on
right.
stage.
We'll sing to you. We kneel down. Absolutely, haul you up. Right. Yeah. We have fun with you because we bring you out of yourself. Now, some people get scared of that, but very few actually. It just makes everyone happier. So we're all together doing this. Energy begets energy, and we get energy from our audience, and our audience gets energy from us, and it all works together. And it's a beautiful thing, yeah.
Now, your background personally is business and communications, and you've combined those skills to present the Newfoundland and Labrador culture on stage. I'm curious, is there a fine line you have to walk between celebrating our culture and commercializing it?
Oh, absolutely. In fact, in the very beginning when we started, and we would do presentations to some tourism groups, or how were we promoting ourselves? We were getting on the back end of board meetings, to just, this is who we are, this is what we do. And at that time, even with, in tourism circles, there was very little that was private, in tourism culture. Because we've gotten into the heritage side as well, the Masonic Temple and all that. So we're all about tourism culture and heritage. But it felt that profit was a dirty word. And we would say to them, profit is not a dirty word. All it means is we're not getting government grants. We're not relying on the government. It can be an industry, and we are trying to create an industry. And there are a number of us involved, and I think we're doing grand. But an industry is still not created. It needs to be recognized. Premier Andrew Fury needs to recognize we are trying to create an industry. It's not all leaning on government funding and that sort of thing. And we are training audiences, Deborah. Our audiences, I believe, in Newfoundland and Labrador, it's just, they are among the best in the world. We are giving them great talent. I mean, look at the shows that are happening, and just, they are getting so exposed, and the Newfoundland and Labrador audiences come out to all these shows. And we only have a small population. How does our company alone get 120 shows a year? How does, Sandy Morse, you've been talking to, I'm sure, and it's just, he's at so many events, and it's because the audiences pay to go out. So, just a quick response on, business versus in the very beginning, when we were setting a price for our dinner theater. Peter, I remember our discussions, and it was I said, we had to charge $32. That's it. We are getting a full 3-course meal, and we didn't know anything about food at that time. We called Brenda O'Reilly because she knew food, and she did our food for us, which was great. We were so happy. So they got more than half of the share, but I said, it's got to be $32. Imagine that. And so it can't be that high. I said, yes, it needs to be that high. That's how the numbers work. It has to be. And thank heavens we started there, because it was a new price point for people in the city. But they rose to the occasion, and that's how we're able to survive, and how all these gorgeous actors and singers are able to excel in what they do, because people came out to pay for it and watch them and hear them and celebrate them. Yeah.
And you gave them a great evening of not just wonderful music and good food, but fun. And we're going to have a listen to a song now that's a bit of fun. A song that you requested, Chainsaw Earl by Buddy Wass's Name and the other fellas. Really quickly before we have a listen, why this song?
Well, it just lends itself to foolishness. I mean, poor old Chainsaw Earl's the ugliest guy around, and I mean, it's the lights, man. It's hilarious. That whole scene was hilarious. Buddy Wass's Name gives us so much great music. All of us, Ron Hines gives us so much. We use all of these, we have some original songs ourselves, but we, Great Big Sea, it's just, and Buddy Wass's Name is the one that gives lots of very funny songs. And so this Chainsaw Earl was one of those. And so we made a whole scene out of it, right? And dramatized the whole thing.
All right. Well, we're going to get our chainsaw out here now at Going Strong. Let's have a listen. Chainsaw Earl.
He was skinny as a rake, like 2x4, ugly as sin, born premature. Mother had trouble trying to take to a kid that looked like a garden rake. Our sons are sons, and Dad wasn't proud, didn't make him feel like one of the crowd. Wood-cutting boys from up in the sticks laughed at the sight of Earl. He was treated like scum, and he felt like dirt, couldn't lift a chainsaw, make it work. Father often said that he didn't have a clue. Mother didn't feed him, and he hardly grew. Hungry, I'm hungry. So Earl disappeared for 15 years. Father didn't miss him, and his mother didn't care. After a while, they forgot about Earl, and his girlfriend said, who cares? Stun, 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 Earl. Stun, 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 Earl. Stun, 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 In this little town, life went on the same till one hot July, and no rain came. Great big fire set the country ablaze, and everyone cutting fire breaks. Ah, they saw it and they saw it, but they couldn't outrun the smoky fumes and the fiery tongues. They were losing fast, it was looking bad. Who would save their town? Save me! Save me! Nobody knew, neither foe nor friend, that Earl had grown to 7'10". Arms like cupboards, legs like trees, fists like hammers and hairy knees. Shave me! Shave me! Far off in the woods above the din and the roar came a sound nobody had heard before. Trees were falling like a tidal wave to a monster John's a red chainsaw. Chainsaw Earl. Chainsaw Earl. Chainsaw Earl. His cutter bar was 10'2". Turned the air all purple and blue. Tasmanian devil in 20 minutes flat made the landscape look just like Iraq. With the trees all limbed and the firebreak made, the townsfolk saved from a charcoal grave. People gathered, shouted and cheered. Hooray! For this forest disposal unit. Lighting up a smoke, he laid the chainsaw down, said, I'm the guy who saved your town. Then Earl knocked over a drum of gas just as he threw away his match. All the gas exploded and the town burned flat, and Earl ran off just like a scalded cat. It's been 15 years, his father said, and he's still as stunned as me arse. Stunned as me arse. Stunned as me arse. Stunned as me arse was
Chainsaw Earl.
I'm just picturing them now blowing the match, going across the stage. But we didn't use all the verses in there, but we told the story.
Yeah.
And everyone had a grand laugh with it.
So funny. Buddy Watts' name and the other fellow's the one and only. And of course, that's a request of my guest today on Going Strong, Kathie Hicks, CEO of Spirit of Newfoundland Productions, and now in its 27th year, more than 100 shows, thousands of guests. And Kathie, you've always stayed in the same area, almost within a square kilometer in downtown St. John's. The Majestic, the Masonic, now in Gower Street, United. They've almost been within a stone's throw of each other. And it's known as the Ecclesiastical District. What is it about this square kilometer or so that's so significant to you?
Well, it's really important to the whole city. And it's about, you can taste the culture of Newfoundland, Labrador, downtown St. John's, because the harbor's there and the boats and everything. So the Ecclesiastical District, and I know we don't have a long time to talk about that here, but it's the only one like it in all the country. It's where you have all the denominations of the churches. And so these are cultural centers, and that's what we're trying to do, is like Masonic, even when we bought the Masonic. It really wasn't a cultural center. It was, a meeting house for a fraternity of, fellers who, were Masons. And so the church is like, we got a liquor license now at the church. So the church itself is now becoming a cultural center. But it's mostly because that's where the richness of the artistic element is. It's the A1C district, the most artists per capita in any postal code. And you can feel it, you can taste it. And, we're just not any city. So it's just, we want to celebrate exactly what that part of the city is. It's very colorful and grand and gorgeous and amazing and all that.
And I mean, in that square kilometer, like you say, there's been people on stages, platforms, behind pulpits, captivating congregations and audiences, and I have a theory that I just want to run really quickly by you and get your sort of instant reaction. That I think that in the DNA of Newfoundlanders is something that makes them natural performers at ease with an audience, no matter what professional path they take.
Praise and charmers, I call us.
So has that been your observation?
Absolutely. And people, we get asked the question many times, are you from some kind of club? Yeah, no, I think it's in the DNA of people just to be natural orators, to be able to, okay, someone grabs your mic, okay, I'll take the mic, yeah, sure, whatever. And whether I can't sing and I can't play, and I sing all the time and I play all the time, but I love to talk and I love to tell stories, and even though I'm the business side of all of this. But yeah, no, I think it's something very special about Newfoundlanders, and that's why it's so important to keep it going strong, like you say, Absolutely.
Well, I mean, I can't, and of course, I just want to say before I ask you this last question, if people want to know what shows are coming up, then go to your Facebook page, your website, Spirit of Newfoundland Productions.
Yeah, just spiritofnewfoundland.com, and that just shows you, all the shows. And we have like 7 and 8 shows in rotation now still, yeah.
Beautiful. Mm-hmm. Well, my last question to you, I can't let you go without asking it, is that what keeps you engaged, excited, going strong? You, Kathie Hicks.
Thank you, because, there's a lot of days you rip your hair out and just like, oh my goodness gracious, universe, seriously, you want this to happen? But, the work is really hard, but the rewards are great. And the rewards are in life. We only have this one life. The fact that we're able to celebrate who we are, have a laugh, tell a joke, sing a song, write a new one. What better? You can't have anything better for your life. And to know that Newfoundland and Labrador is not going to suffer in the next few weeks, from decline, but it is important. We can't take it for granted. It is important to preserve it because we do have something special, and it does rise to the surface. Like, who else has a dictionary of English? Who else has this large canons of music? We ask all the time, audiences from Ontario, tell us one Ontario song. And they'll say, Gordon Lightfoot song or something. But it's not about their culture, right? So it's something really special, yeah. And I'm sure we learned that from all the admirals that came into the coves and brought their instruments and their stories and came into our living rooms, and they taught us, right? And that's how we know, yeah.
Well, you've made a lot of people happy that it's going to keep going strong, and
this is great what you're doing, too. I think it's fantastic the VOWR is doing this, because
there is no end to the number of people who can come in and talk about this, which is, it's an embarrassment of riches, right?
Embarrassment of riches. It sure is. Yes.
Well, it was a quick half hour, Miss Kathie Hicks, CEO. Never. Spirit of Newfoundland Productions CEO. Good to chat with you, celebrate the longevity and the incredibly infectious spirit of Newfoundland. And that is going strong for this week, folks. My name is Deborah Collins, inviting you to join me again next Tuesday at 7:30, right here on VOWR.